All right, so one time. We from what he just said now, it means we we have concluded data cleaning, and remember that
Yes, sir.
under data cleaning, we talk about perfecting your data sets before analyzing it in order to avoid errors. So once that steps has been completed, the next step is for us to learn how to load data sets into our analysis dashboard. And don't forget, I know it has been a while, I have explained to us the various parts of Power BI, talking about the environment of Power BI. So I want to assume that we all know the importance of all the parts that forms the Power BI interface. So just to recap for a few seconds or minutes, I started by explaining to us that the whole of this section, the top here, is called the title bar, where you can display the name of your dashboard. Currently, our dashboard name is untitled because we have not saved it with a unique name. I also talk about the tab bar. The tab bar is this section. See if I can take this off so that we can see it better. So the taskbar is the tab bar is this section where I am navigating at, where you have file, where you have home, where you have insert, where you have modeling, view, optimize, and helps. It is called the tab bar. And we should know that each of them, when they are selected, we always expand their functions. So right now we are on Home tab. That is why we are seeing all these basic features. So if I go to Insert, I should be able to see different kind or type of functions. If I go to Modeling, the same thing. If I go to View, the same thing. I go to Optimize, the same thing. So you just have to know that they are containers of different functions. Now, we'll also identify the whole of this section as our Power BI view components. Power BI view components. I said there, this component is very important. In fact, it's one of the key Power BI components that you must know how it operates. So just to explain it a little bit, I said we have different view. In other words, there are different ways you can present your dashboard or your Power BI environment. Either is presented or viewed in report mode or in data mode, which is called the table, or the modeling mode. And of course, this is additional tab, which talks about the data analytics expression, the language Power BI uses to create and manage its functions. Now, by default, when you open Power BI, it will always be on the report view. So the report view is actually the dashboard view. Don't forget, I told us that the whole of this section where you have this dotted line is called the dashboard. That is your dashboard area. So the whole of that section is actually programmed for you and I to be able to display different words, insights derived from a data set that will be representing what we know as reports models. Now, the whole of this section is your Power BI visual section, where you can see all the modeling tools. So one of the reasons why Power BI is topping among data analytics tools is because of the availability of different visuals that can be used to present insights or analyze your data. So it is our responsibility to understand, if not all the features, all the visuals. They all have their strengths depending on the insights you are presenting. Now, we also have this section, which is called the data section. This section responsibility is to list out all the data you must have loaded here for analysis. So currently there is no data loaded. That is why it's empty. So I believe I have explained. And then we have this section where you can actually view your dashboard in a mobile view and also laptop view. And then this section allows you to add more dashboards. So should in case you have multiple analysis questions to answer, you can go beyond one page by just clicking here. So you can add as many pages as possible. And each of these pages might represent your dashboard. So at the end of the day, we are going to learn how we can create a button from one of the dashboard to the next one. Now, so that is for that. So the next thing I want to teach us is how do we load our data sets into Power BI for analysis. Since we are starting with analysis, the first thing we need to learn is how we can get our data set here. So, one of the advantage of using Power BI is that it gives us access to multiple gateways. That is, with Power BI, we can retrieve or call data from almost all the database in the world, provided we have access. It's not like the Microsoft Excel where you cannot call data from probably outside your system. Also with Power BI, all this you are seeing, they are different data gateway. In other words, different channel that can lead you to where you can access data. These are not even all. I can click on more to see a more elaborate list of different gateway or domain we can get data from. So you can see so many places where you can get data from. So there is no other tool, as I know, for data analysis that have this broad of data gateway like Power BI. So it's actually a powerful application for data analysis developed by Microsoft Corporation. Now, the common data format we work with are CSV and Excel most time. Whether you're analyzing data in Python or in Excel, you most likely work with CSV or pure Excel or Excel worksheet data format. Now, this program is very sensitive. The level of AI in this program is much. And that is why it's like an advanced Excel. That is, it has more AI than Excel. Now, why did I say so? Now, if you want to load in Excel data set, once you follow this link to a directory, let's say your desktop or your document where you have different types of data sets, some are CSV, some are Excel worksheets, you will notice that it will automatically silence all the CSV and display only what? Excel. The same thing, if I want to load in CSV, this is where I go. And then, so let's start taking it one after the other. So let's say I want to load in a CSV data set. So I'll go to get data. So from get data, I navigate to test/CSV. CSV means comma separated value. Comma separated value. So I click on it, and then it will prompt me a dialog box where I can navigate to where the data is stored within my system. So let me try and look for a folder on desktop to access a data set. So let me go to that folder. Okay, weekend class. So I have this as two different data sets, and they are all in CSV. So in this same folder, I have a Excel data set, but they are not currently showing because of the gateway we follow, CSV. So you are only bound to see CSV data in or at the moment. So let's say I want to take this data set. So I'll click on it and then select open. And then you give it some time. It will try to connect to the directory, as you can see. And then at the end of the day, it will tell us if it has completed the process. And then once that is ready, when we open this section, we are going to see the data loaded in there. Now, as you can see here, this is a preview of the data set you are loading into Power BI. So the idea is that it's for you to cross-check if this is exactly the data set you want to work on. If it is not, then you can stop the process by selecting cancel. Now, in the course of checking, if you discover that there are some columns you want to remove, there are some rows you want to delete, there are some, some variables you need to adjust, then instead of proceeding with load, you proceed with what? Transform data, which will redirect us to Power BI query component, which I said offers us bunch of functions for cleaning up our data or for perfecting our data before loading them into the analysis dashboard. But in this case, I will just assume, since we have concluded data cleaning section, I will just assume our data is 100% okay and ready for analysis. So since that is the assumption, I'll proceed with load. Now, once you click on download, you will notice it will start reflecting after some time. Let's give it some time depending on your system speed. So as you can see, once you start noticing something like this, then it tells you that it's about to dump data in your data pan. So you have to wait. All right, so there is an update here that 55,000 plus data sets have just been loaded into our Power BI, but the process is still going on. We still have to wait until we are able to see the name of the data frame here. Good. So this is the data frame. So you can as well load as many as possible data sets in your analysis dashboard, and then you can take after the other to draw the possible actionable insight from them. So that is how to load a CSV data set. Now let's quickly look at how do I load a Excel data set. The same process, you go to get data. This time around, you are following what? Excel workbook. You can see that same folder that we were the other time. We are not seeing this particular data type. Why? Because of we came in here then from CSV gateway, not Excel gateway. So we need to understand that. So let's say I want to load this as well, and then I click, and then I'll also give it a time. So at the end of the day, that data set name will also reflect here. So this particular data set you are loading spread across different sheets. That is why it's open like this. You know, when you open a workbook in Excel, you can have one sheet holding different value, another sheet holding different data. So if you are trying to load such a workbook, Power BI will display the list of sheets, and then you will not choose which will contain the data you want to load. So I will just click here to just preview. So you can see under table 1 sheet, these are the values there. So you check if these are what you want to load. Fine. Then you can also check if you want to load both of them. So I think both of them are the same. So let me see. So I can go with one. So I will just uncheck one and then load it in as well. So you can see this one is very light. It's not as much as the first one. That is the reason why I think is connecting and loading faster. This one is just 1,000. The other one was about 55,000 data. All right, so now we just completed the steps on how to load in our data sets in Power BI for analysis. The next step is for us to understand the data, which is one of the basic rules in data analysis. Anytime we are given data, we are advised to always understand, study the data for understanding. Like I always say, understanding your data determine or influences the quality of questions, analysis question that will be drafted, that will eventually lead to the possible insight that can be used for decision-making purpose. So we need to prioritize understanding our data. Now, in Power BI, how do you understand your data? If you look at this now, we are now viewing this data in a tabular structure where I will have been able to see the headers and the values to know the type of headers and the values in the data frame. So to do that, let's assume that I want to view only the headers in this data set. So I will just expand it here. So that we output only the headers. But I am not able to see the values. So viewing the headers alone will not actually help me to understand the data. Though I understand that, oh, in this data set, I have a column label what admission type. I have a column label what age. I have a column label what billing amounts, but I do not know the type of value. But professionally, based on experience, you should be able to know. I can tell if the value in this particular label are strings or numbers. All the way from Python, you should understand what I mean by string or number. They are basic what? Data type. Now, how do you know? When it carried this Sigma icon, it means that what? You have numbers under that column. So here I'm going to have number, here I'm going to have number, here I'm going to have number, here is date. This is the symbol, here is date. Okay, but you don't assume this. The proper thing you should do is to switch from your report view to what? Table view, so that you can see the data the way it was presented in Excel. That's the reason why I was talking about you understanding the views. So now I'm able, before you start drafting your analysis question, always make sure that you are not in report or dashboard view. You are in what? Table view. Because here I can see the headers and also the values under them. So from here, I'm able to know whether I have dependent variable and independent variable. So what do I mean by dependent variable and independent variable? Now, dependent variable are variable that during the course of your analysis depend on another variable before you can use them to derive insights. Why independent variable? They are the variable that the other ones depend on. Simple as that. For example, now let me cite a practical or applicable scenario. We have 5% tax here. These are the 5% collected from the customers. The company wants us to analyze the total sum of these 5% per city. That is, I should sum up all the values here that can be traced towards individual city. Now, you can see based on that question, summarize the total 5% based on city. It means that the summary of the value here depend on what? The city. So the city is now what? Independent variable. Why the 5% is what? The dependent what? Variable. Please, are we getting it? I hope you are following, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So that is just the idea. Now, most time, you have to summarize value against categorical data. What do I mean by categorical data? Data that can be classified. For example, now you can classify this. I can classify this whole entry into three type of what? Cities. We have the Yangon, we have the Mandalay, we have what? Napitel. They are there, though we are not saying there because the data is sorted. But I'm familiar with the data. For some of you, I know you understand what I'm saying. We have Mandalay, we have Yangon, and then we have what? Napitel. So which means that all the values here are classified into three. Now, I want to ask us, and I want somebody to respond. Can branch or is branch a categorical data or unique data? Please, can you unmute and respond?
I think it's a unique data.
Mr.
For
Val,
what I'm seeing here.
for what we are seeing here, but if we go down now.
If we go down, I think we have other branches, B and
Okay.
C.
Okay, B and C.
So it is safe to say that what is a categorical what or classified
data.
good. Now, what about what you have under invoice ID?
That one is unique.
It's unique, right? Now, most time, your analysis strength is not on this unique. Your analysis strength is on what? Categorical data. Nobody will ask me to summarize what? 5% tax against what? Invoice. It doesn't make sense because that question is already answered. So there's no point of me performing any analysis. This invoice unique ID, this is its own word. There is no other place where it's mentioned. So I just want to draw our attention to that. Now, I'll go back to report view. But before we go there, let's draft some questions. I want us to take note of this question because these are the questions we are going to answer. Remember, the focus is what? Analyzing data with Power BI. So, and the reason why we came here is because we want to draft our analysis question. So the first question I'm going to answer, which we do with summation function, summation dash function, is analyze the sum of total . 5% tax per
city.
per cities. So that is one question I'm going to answer. The next question I'm going to answer is analyze the total number of entries or transactions per city as well. So this one is going to involve counting function. The first one we involve sum function. Now, the next question is, the next question will be analyze the total average of this data set. I know we have gross income somewhere here. Okay, analyze the total average gross income per payment
type.
Yeah, payment type. So let's see how we will answer this. How we will answer these questions. But before I answer this question, I would like to come up with some questions first, and there's a reason why I am going this way. So let's add more questions. Questions like, the company wants to know the total gross income generated from all the city. Let's say we want to know total gross income from all the city. This time around, you are not breaking them down per city. The total gross income from all the city. That is also a question we want to answer. Then another question we want to answer before those main questions. These ones are card questions. Now, we also want to know the total. The company wants to know the total 5% tax paid from all the city, not breaking it down per what city. Total tax, 5% tax paid across all the city. That is one question. Another question I want to answer is, the company is also interested in knowing, they are also interested in knowing the total of total. I think this total represents maybe income. So they also want to know the total of total. So these three questions that I just drafted, they are going to be at the top of our dashboard, and they are referred to as single metric analysis. Single metric analysis, which means you are just going to display one value. You are not breaking the value down per unique values. So now let's go back to our report view and start answering these questions one after the other. Now, when I started, I said the whole of this, they are the backbone of this program. These questions that you just drafted, they must be answered with one of these. So your ability to know based on the question before you, which of these visual can give you the analysis is what makes you a professional user of Power BI. Okay, so that brings us to the visual to answer the first questions. So let's talk about Power BI card visual. Power BI card visual. In case you are noting, please, let's make sure we are noting key point. So we are looking at Power BI card visual at the moment. Power BI card visual. CAD visual. Power BI CAD visual. So how do we define Power BI CAD? So Power BI CAD is a simple and effective way. Power BI CAD is a simple and effective way to display KPI. What is the full meaning of KPI? Key performance indicator. Key performance indicator. I repeat, I said the Power BI CAD is a simple, effective way to display key performance indicators or other important metrics So that is the function of this visual. Now, this is the visual. This is the visual. This is it, Power BI CAD. Now, remember the keyword there, displaying what? Key performance and other words are single what? Metric. Now, let's see how we are going to use it to answer the first question that says we want to analyze the total gross income. The notes, before using Power BI, you need to create what we call measures. You have to create measures. So anytime you are learning Power BI CAD, when it comes to dashboard development, you need to understand the concept of measures. So just to explain measures in Power BI are known as calculators. They are known as what? Calculators. What are calculators used for? For performing what? Calculation. But in this case, they are calculators that we build or create on our data in order to perform certain what? Analysis calculation for us. So that is a simple way of defining Power BI measure, because the card is just like a placeholder. The value the card will be used to display need to have been calculated with the what? The measure. So I want to quickly go through the steps, how you can create these measures. So the first thing I want to do is to identify the data. I want to create the measure or the calculators on. The first calculator I want to create is the one that will perform the analysis to answer the first question, which says total gross income. So, and I want that total gross income is a feature of healthcare data, not data. So you need to identify the data you are building your calculator on. So once you have done that, right-click on any of the value, and then you will see what? New measure. So you click on it, and once you click on it, you give it some time, it's going to open somewhere here, and there, good. Now, your measures should be named according to what you planned to do with them. The analysis you want them to do for you. Your measure name should have a way of reflecting it. Now, like I said, this measure we are creating, this calculator we are creating, is to analyze the total gross income for me. So I will name it what? Total gross. I will name it total gross _ gross. Okay, so once you have named your measure, you come after the equal sign and consult the function. Now, this is where, as an analyst, you need to observe how your questions sound. Look at the question. Summarize the total gross income generated from all the city. That's the question. That summarize means that what? You are to use sum function. And the sum function you are using is not a conditional what? Sum function. So this is what you do. You type sum here because you have discovered that your question requires using sum. And then you click on it. Now, once you activate the function, Power BI is so sensitive to synchronize all the headers across the data set you have loaded here. Is outputting both the headers in data and the headers in what? Healthcare. It is now left for you to identify which of the data sets have the header you are working with. The header we are working with is in what? Healthcare, not in data. But what you are seeing here now, data. These are the list of what? Headers in what? Data. So which means that this is a wrong data. So all I need to do is to scroll down until I start seeing headers from what? Healthcare. So you can see it now. So if you have loaded 1 million data, don't be surprised you see Power BI capturing all their headers. It is just left for you to scroll down to where you have a header describing what you want to do. So I am going to what? Gross income. I think I have it. Oh, I've not passed it. Gross income. Gross income. Healthcare. Okay, so let me go up. Okay. So that means that the data I was working with was data, not healthcare, because I couldn't see good. So we are working on what?
Yes, sir.
Data. Yeah, we are working on
Data.
data, not healthcare. Good. So I'll click on it. So the moment I click on it, Power BI DAS has constructed the function. So all I need to do, I will just hit here to commit it. Now, once you hit here, if it doesn't throw any error, then you are sure that the calculator has been what? Built. And the calculation has been performed. And the answer is stored in what? Total underscore what? Gross. Another way you will know if you have successfully created a measure is when this name starts showing here. What is showing right now is what? Measure, because we have not activated it. So once I click here, the next time you check that place, it will have changed to what? The calculator symbol and also what? The name. So now we can now bring in our card. Remember what brought us to this. We are trying to analyze data, single metric analysis with Power BI what? Card. So now you have calculated the value that the card will present in your dashboard. So Power BI card, when you are building dashboard, are always at the top. And they are mainly used for single metric analysis like we have explained. So how do I now display the value of my measure with the card? To start with, you just simply click on the card to activate its placeholder. And then you have it here like this. Now it's waiting for values. What exactly do you want the card to display? Then remember that we have performed analysis which we are expecting its value to display here. So there are many ways you can get the results stored here to display in the card. It's either you select the card frame and then just what? Check it, or you drag it and what? Put it inside what? The frame. And then automatically it will analyze the result of the card. So that was the analysis you did. So what it means is that the summation of gross profits realized from all the city is what? 15.38 what? Thousand. Now, there is something I also want to bring to our notice. I can display this value in millions. I can display this value in thousands. So depending on how you want to display it. So that automatically takes us to Power BI visual formatting. Power BI visual formatting. Because what we are learning right now, we are learning the visuals. At the same time, we are learning how to use them to build a dynamic and interactive what? dashboard. We are learning two things at the same time. So based on that, this particular visual, any visual you are using here has a formatting command attached to it. So, but how do you exploit those formatting command? All you need is to select the visual you want to improve its appearance. Formatting means you want to make the text readable and what? Presentable. You want to change the appearance. And that is what beautify your dashboard. Your dashboard must be user-friendly. Your dashboard must calculate color. So the advice I give to students is that do not try to use 3-4 colors when you are starting. The best dashboards are dashboards that you use just 2 color or 1 color. Well calculated. There's no point of you saying you want to use 5 color. It makes it look like, amateur. So now you click on the visual you want to format. Then you switch from this to this option, which says what? Format your visual. Format your visual. Remember that once you click on the visual, you will see this, and then you will see this. So I'll switch to this. So the moment I switch to format visual, then it brings out 2 headers or 2 directory. One is visual, the other one is general. So let me quickly explain when to come here and when to be here. Now, when your emphasis is on styling the contents of the visual, then you should stay on what? Visual. When your emphasis is on styling the visual, the container itself, then your focus should come in here. I hope I'm communicating.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now I want to start by styling the content before what? The container. So therefore, I have to be here. Now, under here, I have what? Callout. Based on this visual. If you use another visual, you have different properties. Okay, so let me start with callout value. Under callout value, I have an opportunity to say, okay, maybe the text is not bold enough. I want you to be observing what is happening as I am touching them. So the text is bolder, and the current handwriting of that text is what? Dine. Then you can change it to what? To another font, if that is what you want. Then I can change the writing. I think that other one was too bold. When letters are too bold, sometimes they are not good for what? For eyes. So now the next thing I want to do is that if I am not okay with the size, then I can alter the size here. I can reduce it here. Now, if I want to slant it, I can use most of these things that are things you should have known from Microsoft Word. There are a lot of them that seeing them, you know what they do already. Now, under unit color, let's start with color. Now, like I said, I want to work with just 2 unique color. 2 unique color, maybe blue and red. Of course, black and white, they are default color. So let me say, depending on the color that we present the content better. So you have to choose. So let's say I'm using this color. Now, display unit. Now, whenever you see this FS you are seeing, is called conditional formatting. In Excel, you were taught conditional what? Formatting, which means that where you are formatting based on a condition. We'll talk about that later. That is, you can have, when we start doing a categorical analysis, where we start comparing value, we can say, okay, format a value red if the value is greater than this or if it's less than this. So just for us to see how it look like in case you want to play around it before we get to the class. So you can see it now. It captures what? Total what? As the header that you are dealing with. So you are saying that anytime the minimum value, right now we have 15,000, or let's say we have 15.38. Now I can say, okay, if the minimum value, if for any reason the data is updated and the value reduced to, let's say, 12,000, or let's say what, 12.38, the color should be this. Then if the maximum value, if the value is greater than, or if it's up to, let's say 20.3, the color should be another color. So you can see that you have your conditional formatting. So as this value changes, at some point it will enter, let me change it to a better color. At some point it will enter what? Blue, based on if the value is what? Within this. Then at some point it will enter this based on the value also if it's, so this is what we mean by what? Conditional formatting. That is why you saw that word fs, which means you want to use a function outside the default color scheme. Now, display unit is where you can actually determine whether your value should be presented in thousands or in millions or in billions. Now, for example, we are on what? Auto, which means that what? We left the role of this for the application to decide. And it decided to display it in what? Is it 1,000? Let's check 1,000.
Okay.
Nothing change as I switch to 1,000. Let me change to million. You see that it changing. So it will not make sense because the value is not up to what? Million. But in case you are analyzing a data that the values are up to million, then it's better you what? You use it. So depending. So let me go back to thousands and continue. Now I'm still exploring the feature. I'm trying to, now I have finished exploring the ones under what? The call out option. Let me go to category. Category is talking about this total gross, the label. So I will expand this and also go down, then also make it more visible, increase the font size because it appears too small, and then also enhance the color. You can use the same color for both. Then you can also use the conditional formatting. Then perhaps you format in a way that your formatting is not good enough, then you can reset everything to what? To the way it came, so that you can start all over. That is the work of this. That is for visual, the content. Now I want to format also the container. Then I'll switch to what? General. So under general, I have more features to work with. So the first thing is the property. The property is what measure the width of this bus. Normally, manually, I can come here like this and reduce it. You see what I'm doing? I am manually what? Controlling it. But I can control it here also. I can control the height here, control what? The width here if I want. I can just put value straight. I can say, okay, 100 by 100. You see it now automatically. So it calculates the equivalent what? Width. So it's just for me to what? To come here if possible to expand it a little. So I can click and drag just to create some margin space there. Now, you can lock aspect ratio. Now, what happened is that when I alter a value here, it automatically what? Calculated its equivalent what? Width, just because this is what? On. So if I turn it off, it will allow me to adjust only this without what? Affecting the other side what? Automatically. Are we following?
Yes.
Okay. So now, the positioning of it, how do you want it horizontally? You can also what? That is the movement horizontally, but all these, I consider them not useful enough because you can easily click and drag, right? You can easily click and drag. There's no point of view. But if you want to make some slight movement that the mouse probably is not permitting you, you can come here and what? Gradually move it. Padding. Padding is the space. You can see the diagram. The internal space, the space between the content and the border around it. Maybe you want the text to come in so that there can be more allowance around it. That is padding. So you have padding left. You can see as you click, you see that it's moved to the other side. So, but the best option is for you to use equal ratio so that your value will be at the center of the entire container. So under advanced, you can expand it and check other options. If you want to maintain layer order, you can turn it on, and then you can come to your title. Your title, if there's any reason why you want to add a title, if this total gross is not enough to describe your analysis, you want to add additional title, then you have to turn it on before you expand the content. Then you type your title text. So let's say what? Let's say I want to say that this is question 1. So you can see that what? I have added what? A title. Now, for you to format that title, you need to also come here. Let's say I want the header of that title to improve. And then the color, I also want it to align with the other color. I'm trying to make sure that I don't use too many color. I want to align it to the center. Then I need to also increase the size of it. So formatting is a serious task. You need to know how to format in Power BI. If not, your dashboard is not going to look attractive and user-friendly. So it's a key aspect of this program. Now, we also have subtitle. So in case you want to add maybe a brief description under this main title, then you activate it first, and then you open it to give you a text box. And then you can choose some header and all of that. I don't want to add subtitle. Then you want to add a dividing line. That is what you want to strike a line here to separate your content, your main content from the header or from the title. So to do that, you just have to turn it on, and then you see the line there. Then you can expand it to format it. Maybe you want to change the line color to correspond with other colors you are using. You want the line to be dotted or dash, or depending on how you want it. Let me stick to solid. Then the thickness of that line, maybe it's not obvious enough. You want to increase it. So it's left for you. So you have to take time to format. It's very important. Spacing, the space between it. You can see that if it's too jam, you can create some space. Then your data format, please just give me a second. Okay, so your data format, you want to, if you click here, this is what you have here. And then if you come to format, we don't have any option here. Now, format option, that is it. Header icon, probably you want to add header icon, you expand it. And then we don't have any icon there when you are working with image. Alternative text, so I have touched the major things you need to know. Under property, under header. Now going to effect. Effect is where you will now be talking to the background color of that visual. So now, although I want to use the white background color, but just in case you want to change the color, for it better for the object to stand out from other ones that I'm going to create. Then you want to reduce the transparency. Let's say we use a background color that is like overshadowing the content. So you can reduce it, you can reduce it. Okay, so I want to stay on this so that I can see the values very well. Then I think we have explained, you want to add some shadow just to also make it stand out. Then, but shadow is not making it look nice since I have added background color. So that is the first card. So I want to answer the second question. Do we have question first before I answer the second question? Question, please. Is everything good?
The first question is, yeah, it's okay.
It's
Okay.
fine. Let's go to the next
Let's
thing.
go.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the next question. The next question said, you should also, is a card question also, single metric, that the company also wants to know the total. If I could just come back here, the company wants to also know the total 5% paid, total 5% tax paid. Where is it here?
From all the cities.
Okay, it's not this data. The total 5% paid from all the cities.
That's
So
all the
the same
cities.
thing, yeah. So the same thing, I have to create another measure. So this time around, I want to show us another way you can create measure. If you don't want to right click on the field, you can simply make sure that you are in Home tab. From Home tab, you should be able to see new measure here. So you can just take it from here directly. So now it will come up with the measure. So like I said, so let's give it a descriptive name as well. So what are we analyzing? 5% tax. So I can just say what?
5% tax. 5% tax.
Let's say 5% underscore tax. or total. Let me put total there. But just that I'm going to be having too many total. Total. Okay, now I am still using summation function. I'm still using summation function, so I'll type sum and then click. Then I will trace where I have that 5% column and then commit your action and then call another card. Call another card. Now, remember what we did, so I will just call another card. Make sure that you are forming a beautiful design. It's either you are going like this, because the idea is that, there are about 3 questions that we drafted before this question. Those ones, they are detailing questions. They are questions that will help us to give the breakdown of this total sum we are analyzing. So that is why I want the total to be at the top first. Then the breakdown report will come under them. That is the idea. So that we end up having an interactive and dynamic dashboard. So now that I've added the card, I will also add the measure I created. So I have the total 5%. Are we having the same value?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what it brings out. Now, if I want to, for any reason, I want to edit your measure, just click on it from here. It will call it back for you. Maybe you made a mistake. You don't want to go for task. You want to go for another header. You can just come back and call another header. So now I want to also format this particular card the same way. Like I said, when you are creating your dashboard, let your work be unique. This one should not have different color from this. You are not going to have fantastic a dashboard. So what I'm going to do is that the same way I have formatted this one, I will format this one. But you know what? That is like stressful. What we are going to do, we are going to extract the format on this one and dump them here. So how do I achieve that? Just click on that one that you have formatted. Click on this function that says what? Format painter. Then just go there and touch that one automatically. So you don't need to waste your time. So that is why you just pay attention on one. Take time to format one very well, because you know that subsequently you are not going to go through that. You will just be extracting the format and adding it. So let me reduce this. Make sure that your card have almost the same size. So since I reduce this, there is need for me to reduce this to equivalent. The height should be the same if possible, but the width can change. Now, why I am reduced, because I have just 3 cards. If I have like 4 questions to answer, then there might be need for me to also reduce a little bit from here. So I want the third one to come in here before we answer the first questions, and then we'll bring the meeting to a close. Now, the next question is the one that I have to do with counting. I want to change it to counting, not a total of total. So now I want to change it so that it will make more sense. Now, what I want to do here, I need to expand this a little. In fact, if I want to maintain this, then I have to go back to my format, then go back to the callout value and reduce. Sorry, that should be under label. Reduce the size of the label so that it can come in. I think it's the container that's good. So let me also increase this a little.
Let's just go to the container, the general.
Yeah, the
See
general.
the size of the see the
Good.
size of the this thing. Then
Good.
just go and put it there to adjust the size.
That is also another option. So you come here, just come here, and then just go to properties. You can see it here.
181 by 385. So just put it there.
And okay, call this one what?
181 by 385. So that one should change to 385.
385. Okay, so perfect. So you can see that's why they say 2 heads are better than 1. Thank you, Mr. Val. Now, as you can see, I am trying to have a unit. The space I'm leaving here, I am taking it into consideration. If I bring in another one now, I'll also check whether the space is equal. So these are little things that makes your dashboard look beautiful. So the next question, the company wants to know the total numbers of transactions that generated this amount. How many transactions in the data set actually brought this amount? The company wants to know. So what you will do is the same question. So you will just copy this one. Watch now. You will just copy this one. But because we use card, we may not be able to get it like that. Now, let's create another measure with count function. So I'll click again. We'll round up very soon, I think for 7. Now here I am counting. Here count total. Count total entry. Then the function will be count, not sum again. Then just like I said, when you want to count based on number, you use count. If you want to count based on text, you use what? Count A. So I'll click on what? Count. Then I can use, since it's count, I have to use header with numbers, not header with what? Text. Otherwise, I will have used count A. So now let's just use any of the header with number. We give us the same number of what? Entries. So I will commit as well. And then I will bring in my card to output it. So activate another card and then bring it here. Good. So it fits very well. Then add that particular, where is it here? Where is the count?
You're under healthcare.
Under healthcare, right? Did you say healthcare?
I said you are under healthcare.
Okay, good,
That's
good.
the wrong place.
So this is it. So I will just check it here. And then we have what? 1,000. Now the same thing, I will extract this. I will extract the format here. So click here, then select what? This as well. So perfect. Now we have to change it. This 1K. So like this very one now, I want to display it in 1,000. Not this. So I will go back to
That's in 1,000 already.
yeah, well, it's showing K. I want the value to be there, not 1K. Now,
Okay.
because some persons outside Nigeria may not know what is K. You are the only one that know that it's 1K. So let me come here.
So how come the K is here if they don't know it outside Nigeria?
Okay, promote yourself. You are trying to give yourself small hope, Abi. No problem. Yeah, we are good. So I'll come here and change it to what was here that time. Let me change it to auto. Change it to auto so that it will put the actual value. Now, that is for that. Is Mr. Val still here? I notice he's making call in my class. Mr. Val, are you still here? Okay, so
He's using the phone. He's using to connect to make call. I think that's taking it out.
Okay. So now let's continue. Now we have answered the first card question. Now, if you check all this, like we said, when we define card, we said is a Power BI visual used to display what? Single metric what? Analysis value. Now, all these is just one number, 1. We are not aggregating. So let's quickly answer the other question and then we'll bring the meeting to a close. The first set of questions that we drafted, the first one is analyze the sum of total 5% per city. You still remember? Analyze the sum of total of 5% per city. That is, the company wants you to give the breakdown of the total 5% tax paid according to what? The unique what? Cities. That is what you want to analyze. So which means that I'm going to use a visual that can give me aggregate analysis. So this is aggregate analysis now, where you are aggregating value against what? Classified or unique variable. So we cannot use CAD. So you can see how I am teaching us all these visuals. So now you understand what to do with it. Now, for this question, you either answer it with table or with what? Matrix. Any of these can answer the. So I will click on it to add the what? The placeholder. Now, the next thing, you look at the question. The question says we should summarize. The question says we should summarize what? 5% against city. One is string, one is what? Float or numbers. Well, now, what I'm going to do is that I'll start by adding the string. The string is cities. This is city header. So I will drag it, or once I am on the visual, I can just what? Touch it, and then it will analyze the unique city. So you can see that what? Power BI has analyzed 3 unique what? City from the data. Now, the next thing is the value that will be summarized against what? This mentioned city will be the 5%. So I'll go to where I have 5% and then I click. So I also have what? The analysis done. Now, the next thing is for you to also make it look good, to format it. Like I was telling us, the formatting we're going through here, they are card formatting. Now, if you want to format this one now, it also has its own formatting feature. So you click on it and switch from build visual to what? Format your visual. So once you click here, it brings out, you can see so many formatting features for the content inside. So let's just go through the value. Click on bold, increase the size. You can see it now. Now the values are now more what? Visible and more pretty. Always make sure that your values are displayed properly. The color, I'm still using unique color. Like I told us, I don't want to use too many color. But unfortunately, this one have alternative system. So for you to display that, you go down to alternative text. I also make it what? The same, so that all the value can display the same color. Now we are still going, then totals. Totals, that is this total. You want to format it also. Choose color. I just want to make sure that I'm using what? Unique what? Color. Then the header, city and sum of 5%. You need to also what? Improve their appearance. So let me go to column header and then bold, and then also increase the size and then change the color also to this. So let's go with size that is equivalent to the content. Okay, so now that is settled. So the next thing is we want to graphically represent this, because the main purpose of analyzing data, as far we are concerned, is to identify pattern, trend, and what? Outliers. So trend means what? The highest occurring variable in your data, which specify what? Either progressive trend or what? Regressive what? Trend. That is what? We can have upward what? Trend. We can have downward trend. Then pattern is you knowing the differences of the movement. The differences. Then, sorry, the movement pattern, the movement shape. The Y outlier is you knowing the differences, the point of dispersion. How is one deviating from the other? So all these are very important to know in order to make or to assist the stakeholders to make effective decisions. So now, if I ask you now, you are using table visual to visualize your insight. One of the challenge that is attributed to this is that you find it difficult to know the trend. If I have to know the highest value here, I have to compare this number with this value, compare this one with this one, compare this one with this one, before I can actually know which city is what at performing. Because at the end of the day, you are supposed to sit down and write your observation. And where recommendation is necessary, you also provide it. So you cannot analyze data without coming out with what? insight or observation. Okay, so for me to easily identify the trend or pattern, I need to use what? Graph to also visualize this. So that is also how you can visualize your table content with graph in Power BI when you are building dashboard. So you simply click on that table and then you go back to your visual, then you switch. So, but before I don't want to switch, I want to copy this first. So click on this visual, the one you want to copy, then select copy, then click on paste. So now you have just duplicated it. You drag it out. You drag it out. Then you form a design. So I am going to convert this to a graph by just what? Switching to any of these. So automatically, I can also say, okay, based on which one we form a better design. Is it a horizontal bar? Then you can see that all the value, they are doing almost the same thing. That's why the bars are almost equal. But this one is longer, which means that what? City what? Napital is doing better than what? These two, they are doing almost the same way. You put it in writing, either in PowerPoint or in Word. That after your analysis, you discover that Napital has the highest, based on the question you answer here, highest what? Sum of what? 5% tax. And you mention with the value, you mention the value with so value, and then followed by another city with so value. Then at the end, you discover that this city generated the lowest income or lowest what? Tax. That is what the company want to use to make their decision. So that will now inform them to know whether to invest more of their capital in any of these cities. So your analysis must have, given them what? Direction. So that is what or why we exist. Now, I need to also format this. I need to because what we are seeing here, these bars, this color, they are totally off from the color we are using. So my dashboard is not going to be fine with what? This color. So how do you format this? I told us that every visual has its own formatting. So click on it and then go to format. So let me start with the y-axis because this is a graph. And then you can see y-axis label are getting improved now as I'm clicking. It increases the size so that they can be more visible. The color, I want to also align it with the color I am using. Okay, now the layout, think I'm okay with this. The x-axis, the value, I want to also make them what? Visible. The color, the same thing. Just want my dashboard to be unique. Now, the grid, maybe I want to add grid line. If I have, so you can see the grid at the back now that help you to interpret the graph. You want to increase the thickness of the grid. You can increase it so that they can be more visible if you want. Then the bars, I want to format the bars. So I want to change the color to this. Perfect. So you can see the way I'm able to what? To format it. So that is what I need here. Okay, no, I say how to format this. That will be data label. Turn it on first. Data label option, go to the value section, bold it. Okay. Change the color also. Let me see. Okay, so that very one is not it. So keep checking, you get to. Let me open detail. So every visual has its own feature. So make sure you take time to exploit them. They are self-explanatory. Just looking at them as you are adding them, looking at the report. So let's go to title. I think that is where. Okay, so title. Let's see if we have some things we can add here. Okay, no, let's make it white so that we can add the title to the graph. Value. let me look at okay, so let me just go with this. Just take your time. You're able to see all the elements and format them. Now, the next question I want to answer before we bring the meeting to end is the second question that says analyze the total number. Here we are counting. Analyze the total number of transactions. There's one we mentioned, the payments now, payment type. Have you analyze the total average
And that's the total number of entries of
entries?
transactions per city.
Okay, so we want to also give a counting analysis of this since the city is still mentioned. So I will just copy this one, copy it because it's the same header that I'm working with, and then paste. Then click on the edge because if you select a value, it means you are slicing. So let me just reduce it. Make sure that you form very good arrangements with your, so you can see that I have slides now. That's what I was saying. Now, once you pick, you have slides. So you are giving different reports now. So you just double click on it to bring back everything in case you mistakenly slice. So now,
okay,
targeting the edge. So I want to shift this a little so that there could be space for this. If I click here now, it means I have slice. So to bring it back, double click. Then I'll make sure that I target the edge so that I don't slice. Now, what I want to do is just to, let me see. What I want to do is just to convert the function that is performing the calculation here from sum to count, just like a set pivot table. We just want to switch the calculation function from sum to count. To do that, you click on it here. Then you come to this place here where you have the column. This is sum of 5% task that you want to change to count. So you right click on it. You see that by default, the function is on what? Sum. Just switch to what? Count.
count.
Now you have what? Counting analysis. So this align with this report. So that is how to switch, because by default, Power BI has already programmed it on sum. So any question? This is where we are going to stop.
Okay. First, I think this is actually better from the rest because you are not stressing yourself with formations.
Yeah.
On how to get about the sum. This one is perfect. This one is perfect. Yeah, but
Yeah.
one thing I noticed. Sorry, can you go back? One thing I noticed while you did that copy and paste from the first side, from the first city, that copy and paste, and you took it to the third side after the graph.
Yeah.
I noticed it was still affecting the graph. Okay, so now that you have changed it to a count function, does it still have any relationship with the graph that is under sum?
All your reports here, they are automatically linked. They are connected. Any report here can be used as slicer from a set concept. So which means that if I, for example, now let me answer one analysis question here. Supposing what you are analyzing.
No, you're not. Sorry, sir. What I mean is, if you are to touch the first table now, if you click on any of the city, it's now like you are slicing the graph. I don't know if you're getting my point.
The graph, yes.
Now that you have changed the count function, will it still slice the graph? That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
that is under sum.
It will. Depending on which of them you are using as your slicer. Now, don't forget that what you are giving here now is the total numbers of entry from what? These three cities, right? If, for example, now the company now asks you all of a sudden, Mr. Mark, okay, we want the percentage of only Mandalay. Just come here and click on Mandalay like this. This is the one for what? Mandalay. If they now say that, oh, okay, let's see the one for Napito. Just click here. You can see the way you are slicing now.
they say, oh, let's see the one of Yago. Then as you are doing this, you are taking note of which one have the highest because you're going to write a report. After slicing across them, you're taking note of the value they are all generating. So all the report can be used as slicer. Any report can be used as slicer here. So just double click on that very one where you applied it to bring back everything. Any question again? I think we have to.
The report you are going to present to the stakeholders, are you going to have it in a separate sheet or you can write it at the bottom of this dashboard?
You are going to present it in a different sheet. So you are going to dedicate maybe either PowerPoint or one of these sheets will be used for just writing. You will just come to insert, select what text box, and then be writing. So one of the sheets can be dedicated, or one of the page can be used for writing your final report while your analysis are done.
Your observation.
Observation.
I think Power BI does it better. I mean,
yeah.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, PowerPoint. No, depending. Because the aspect is that if you are going to present it live, if you are going to meet the company and stand in front of them and be communicating, going to PowerPoint while you are here will be stressful. So you can just be switching from one. You must have named this. Maybe you double click to name it according to what you are using it for. So once, in fact, you can even create buttons from your dashboard that you can click on and take you to where you have your observation. I think that is settled.
Okay, that's nice.
Let me allow us to go. Mr. Val is enjoying now. So we are going to work. Mr. Val understand. So let me go and start preparing. So
no problem.
The next day will be communicated to us. I'll check my schedule. I'll check my schedule, but I will notify you ahead. It might be tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Before the end of today, you get notification regarding to the next class. But we'll have one more meeting this week. We'll have one more meeting.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Let it be tomorrow, I beg you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I know you started planning where to go on Thursday, Mr. Val. That place is not Nigeria.
Yes, Thursday to next.
You don't go out anyhow ahead. Okay. All right. See you.
All right.
All right. Thank you.